instructions in righteousness. Today we are continuing our series of teaching titled, Living a Rewarding Life. Living a rewarding life. I see all saints should be interested in living a rewarding life. There's no other life. Jesus says that I came that you may have life, and that you may have life, what? Abundant life. So if today you're a born-again believer, you have given your life to Christ, and you're not living an abundant life, something is wrong. I want to know who sold you on that idea. Who sold you on the lifestyle that you're living, if you're not living an abundant life. In our teaching titled Net Breaking and Ship Sinking Increase, we said that by placing our assets and our trusting God and trusting and putting our assets and our possessions in the hand of Jesus, that we will receive a lot of blessings. Amen? We use, for example, the Jesus teaching in the Luke 5, 1 through 11. We saw that Jesus dealing with Peter, bringing in Peter into discipleship. It was not the first time that Peter had come in contact with Jesus, but I like the way Jesus did. Jesus saw the multitude, and he saw the boats, empty boats, and what he did, he brought Peter into his boat and had Peter into the boat that he had, and he asked Peter to push off the land. God knew that Peter worked all night, and Peter could easily make excuses. Well, I don't want to sit here to your message. I'm ready to go home. But it's kind of hard to leave, walk out the boat, or walk out of church when you out there and have to walk across the water, right? And so Peter stood there, and Peter sat there with Jesus in the boat, and after Jesus preached to the crowd, there were many people, and after they heard the word, Jesus began to do some things. In fact, he began to take over Peter's assets. And he told Peter, push out. Told Peter to push out. So right away that Jesus was in control. Amen? We have to always remember that who's in control? Jesus is in control. And so after hearing a good message, and Jesus says, I'm going to do something else for the boy. He said, drop your net on the side. And Peter said that, but we fished all night. We're expert fishermen, and how can, probably in the back of his mind, probably saying, how can a carpenter tell an expert fisherman how to fish? And so he said that we fished all night, and he said, but at your word, I'll do it. And he dropped the net, and as he dropped the net, he received a lot of blessings. He said the blessing came from, he said it was so great that as they began to pull the net, it was so many fish in there, the net began to break. And then he had to call his other companions. He had to call his other partners and to come and help him pull out the fish. And so I believe that is what we need to learn, to begin to put our assets, our possessions in the hand of God so that our blessings can be multiplied. Can I get an amen? We said that there are some things that you have to do. We said, first of all, you have to confess that you have a problem. In other words, people are always in a state of denial. Say, hey, me, I ain't got no problem. They go on and on and on until they come to a point where it seems like they can't turn around. Amen? It's like the addict. The addict will say, I don't have a problem. And then they will continue to deny. Pretty soon they get to the point that particular drug is no longer effective. They got to get a harder drug. And then they keep getting harder and harder drugs till one day the drug kills them. And so don't ever get to the point that you're so stubborn to protect that you can't confess that you need help. Amen? And then he said that you got to concede. In other words, concede means getting the thing out your hand, give it up. You give it up and let somebody else handle it, can handle it. And we suggest that the person that can handle your situation is Jesus. Get it out of your hands and put it in the hands of the man from Galilee. Amen? Put it in the hands of the carpenter from Galilee. There's nothing too hard for God.